Out on the highways this morning, we do have a couple things to let you know about. I-77 northbound at Killian Road, or just after Killian Road, an accident there. Earlier tie-up on I-26 westbound has been cleared. So if you're approaching exit 101 and it's slow, it shouldn't be for long. Should be kind of getting back to normal in that area. 90 for the high today, 92 tomorrow. Could see a late storm tomorrow, late in the afternoon or evening. And some afternoon or evening storms on Thursday with a high of 86, 82 for Friday with some isolated showers. 67 right now on the early game.
Starting tomorrow, Wednesday, listen for your chance to win tickets to see Asia Wilson and the defending champion Las Vegas Aces take on the Puerto Rican national team at the CLA this Saturday. 1 p.m. tip time. Again, that'll be starting tomorrow, so you can go ahead and mark your appointment listening calendars or listening appointment calendars, because we will give you a chance to win tomorrow to win tickets to see Asia Wilson and the defending champion Las Vegas Aces take on the Puerto Rican national team over at the CLA this coming Saturday at 1 p.m. 803-404-6100. If you're just tuning in at 6:33 on a Tuesday morning and you're unaware of the breaking news last night, piqued your interest, you're turning your radio up. Shane Beamer was in Florence and he had big news.
Big news.
Big news. Tell you what, Jen, let's run that cut back. This is Shane Beamer just dropping a May news bomb on us last night on the quarterback situation. Here's Shane Beamer.
I mean, I'll tell you guys what I told Lenoris and all the quarterbacks coming out of spring practice. Coming out of spring practice, Lenoris is our starting quarterback. But just like all of our positions, that we will continue to compete at all positions. So I told Robbie Ashford the moment I say that at a Gamecock Club event, the headline is going to be Beamer names Lenoris Sellers starting quarterback. Lenoris is the starting quarterback coming out of spring. And now, like I told Lenoris and like I told Robbie did a great job during spring practice along with our other quarterbacks. Lenoris did a great job, and I expect Lenoris to continue to compete and continue to earn that position as well. You guys know from being here, I mean, going into 2022, nobody thought that Nicky Mamori and DQ Smith were going to be starting safeties because we had two seniors that they were behind, and we got into week 2 and they became starters. So it's the same thing. You don't all of a sudden name someone. Debo Williams as our starting linebacker coming out of spring practice, but he needs to have a great summer to continue to be the starting linebacker. So that's where we are, and I had those conversations with those guys the Monday after the spring game.
I'll admit, I'm going back right now. Mm-hmm. I'm going back. I am looking at the two starters listed on Tuesday before the then Georgia State game.
Yes.
Do you know who they were? Because
I know who one was.
The other one, I don't know if the other one ever played.
Okay.
So the two starters were listed as Devonnie Reed, and the other one was R.J. Roderick.
Yes.
Okay. So now you can clear it up for all of us.
Yeah, that's not how that happened. I understand what Shea was trying to do. He's just trying to promote competition within the program, and there's always a battle, and you never safe spot. That's not how that happened. There's a story, old story they always tell in sports. The old story of Wally Pipp. You familiar with the Wally Pipp story? I
remember the Wally Pipp story.
The Wally Pipp story. If you're not familiar with the Wally Pipp story, you've heard it before, I'm sure. Wally Pipp was the first baseman for the Yankees. Wally Pipp gets a headache, goes to the manager and says, "Hey, I have a headache. Can I not play today?" And the manager says, "All right, cool. We'll put in this other guy in here. Hey, Garrett, Lou, whatever your name is, Lou Garrett. You get in, you play first base." And then Lou Garrett plays for 2,500 and some odd games later Wally Pipp never plays again, and Lou Gehrig becomes who he is, and Wally Pipp becomes associated with this particular story.
A pipsqueak.
A pipsqueak. There you go. Which Drake did call Kendrick Lamar over the weekend. He called him a pipsqueak, and that was very funny.
I read up on that last night, by the way. Not to go down a complete rabbit hole, but
very
wow.
funny. Anyway, that's not how that happened. What happened during that Georgia State game is RJ Roderick was playing. A lot of people within the fan base, me being one of them, was trying to figure out why was RJ Roderick playing. Nick Emery was a freshman, but we had gotten word that Nick was lighting things up during fall camp. We knew he was going to be very good. Georgia State is running the ball down South Carolina's throat. If you remember correctly, the first drive, Sean Elliott, head coach of Georgia State Bulldogs. It's great to go back and watch that film. You see all of these people. Jordan Birch is running around.
That's true.
There's a lot of ghosts running around. It's like, oh, he did play. Jamias Williams is a running back for Georgia State. It's a lot of things happening. Anyway, RJ Roderick gets hurt going into the goal line. Here comes the freshman Nick Emery on a third down. He makes the first tackle in the hole for a gain of 0. Then it's 4th and 1. And guess who makes the next play? Nick Emery, the freshman. And after that, Nick Emery never relented. He goes on to be an all-SEC freshman, plays the next 12 games. RJ Roderick never saw the field again, and in fact, transferred in the middle of the season, if you remember correctly.
Transferred to
Liberty later,
and didn't even make it there.
Didn't play at Liberty. All I'm saying is to say that that's not how that happened, right? It happened that way, but we just want to be clear for historical memory that it wasn't the same situation. It wasn't as if it was an upstanding senior in the program or somebody who had really earned their stripes. I think we remember RJ Roderick was kind of on thin ice around the program at that time. And everybody was looking for an opportunity for this young freshman to come in and play. And he did. And now we have a guy who's going to be draft eligible next year. So I just wanted to make sure we were very clear on, because like you said, Shane tried to pull a Men in Black thing on us like, oh, yeah, that is how that happened, Coach. I forgot. It's not how that happened. We were all here.
Well, you can speak to it on what the summer is for the starting depth chart. Now, because we will get normally some kind of information packet at the Shane Beamer golf outing in late July, and that is understandable. There is a tentative depth chart on that. Basically, it's the same one that we just had. But the summer is about improving yourself to then beat out the guy in front of you. So, and by the way, at least to my knowledge, we don't have a post-spring depth chart. Last night we got confirmation on what we knew. Good
point.
But we don't have a post-spring depth chart, which essentially does open the door to saying, hey, Dylan Stewart, you're not the backup. You could be the starter, but that does create competition. But in your days, how many guys did you really see make that huge jump? The guys on the roster, not the freshmen coming in, because it was different back then. Guys didn't enroll. What is it? South Carolina had 13 early enrollees, I believe. So the majority of the guys that are going to be on this team were at spring practice to position themselves accordingly and now go through the summer.
Yeah, I can't think of anybody specifically that made a huge jump over the summer. I mean, of course, everybody, gains 20 pounds of muscles and loses 15 pounds of fat.
No, it's fantastic.
Of course, everybody has the best summer ever, and they come in the best shape of their lives. Everybody does that. But I can't think of anybody who made a drastic jump from where they were one spring to the next. You have a decent idea about who they're going to be now. To your point, think about Dylan Stewart or the other freshmen. I tell the story all the time. They tried to put Sidney Rice on the scout team, and he was just too good. And eventually, he was going to play his way into becoming a starter. And I think that's what happened with Nick Emery. Like they try because you don't necessarily know if the freshman's going to be ready to handle the lights and all that situation. But sometimes they're just too good to be held back any longer. And I'm not saying that they wanted RJ to get hurt, but it made their decision a lot easier. And that decision was probably
you don't have to have a tough conversation.
Exactly.
The really tough conversation doesn't have to occur.
Exactly.
That'll still open the door. Look, and again, this is, to me, the funny part of this is, and what and what Coach Beamer did last night, if this was Steven Garcia, I would be like, yeah, makes sense. He's telling him, you can't slack up this summer. Yes, young man, this isn't Steven Garcia. Now, Lenore Sellers has got to prove on the field what Garcia did, but off the field, I feel like we have two entirely different individuals. I feel like Lenore Sellers is one of the first ones into the weight room going, hey, stop goofing around over there. Let's go. We're lifting weights.
Yeah.
We're doing this with our shoes on. We're not doing this barefooted. Going back to the old Spurrier story, which again was right there in the transition that we got to hear everything on camera or like audio back when Spurrier was doing it. But I'll never forget him telling the story and it later turned out to not be. It later turned out to be a little factually incorrect, in which he was in his office, and in this case he said he had heard, but he was in his office and he looked out on the field, and Steven Garcia is out there doing 7-on-7 barefoot, which might be fine. I have no idea. But to Steve Spurrier, that was not the effort needed.
He's toughening up. He's toughening up his feet.
Callous on his feet.
But I will remember that going, and then later on, that preseason going into the East Carolina game, Spurrier the week of the game announced Connor Shaw to be the starter. But I remember having to work for the Big Spur and doing some of those particular rounds, and Spurrier saying, "Yeah, I heard Steven was out there the other day barefoot. That's not how you do it. It's not how you practice. We gotta be serious during the summer."
Yeah, all indications lead that Lenore should be very serious in the summer. What's also very interesting is I heard what Shane said. I wonder what Robbie heard.
Well,
I know what Shane said. I wonder what Robbie heard.
well, no, and I will. This is the one truth, and we got to hit a break. I do firmly believe Robbie Ashford's been around. This is his third college. I don't think Robbie Ashford came out of the spring going, nah, I'm the starter over that guy. I looked better. I also do believe Shane Beamer when he said that conversation has occurred where he's basically having to re-motivate Robbie Ashford. We'll talk a little bit about that because I do wonder, you get a guy like Ashford who's been at Oregon, been at Auburn. He hadn't been at small programs, and he looks at it, he goes, redshirt freshman? I can beat this cat out. I got this guy. And then it didn't quite go that way. We'll talk about that, get into a few other things as well. No J.C. Sherbert this morning, so we'll from 7 to 8 have plenty of discussion on several other topics as well. You're listening to Preston Thorne. I'm Bill Gunner. She's Jen Jensen. It's the early game. 803-404-6100 is how you can weigh in if you want to do so. Text always and says, well, all right, all that talk. Who's the number 2 quarterback? He didn't officially announce Robbie Ashford as the number 2 quarterback.
Well, he said everybody still is competing.
Yeah.
So, again, I know what Shane said. I wonder what everybody else heard. Because if he didn't say that Robbie was the number 2 quarterback, Dante probably said, well, obviously it's me.
Yeah, I was a 4-star.
Yeah.
Feel good about myself.
It's obviously me.
Davis Belleville back there,
I've been here.
yeah, I've got this.
It's clearly going to be me.
I do go back to your Lou Gehrig Wally Pipp, though, description. Is that the greatest of all time, losing your starting job?
That's one. I mean, that's the one that everybody goes to, and I think it's gone to because the Wally Pipp, as I read more of the story.
Oh, he took himself out.
He took himself out. However, it's because he got hit in the head with a ball during batting practice. So he was like, I had a headache. And if you think this was during the 1920s,
right?
I'm sure they were not wearing a hard helmet. So he got hit with a baseball in the head, and he was like, hey, coach, I think I got a little bit of a headache. And they were like, you're soft. Move out.
And I wonder,
way.
it had to be, I wonder if it was an irrelevant game. I really don't know the full backstory. Like, did it happen early in the season? Had he played 29 straight games and was like, I could just use a break? We're playing, say, like the last place Milwaukee Braves. No,
he got hit with a ball.
Right.
During batting practice. It wasn't like he was just like, I'm a little tired. He had they didn't call him that during I don't even know if they said they got his bell rung back then. He was just like, what are you doing? We all get hit with balls. Why do you need a helmet? What are these helmets things we're talking about?
I mean, the Yankees made him their starting first baseman. He and a guy named Home Run Baker led an improved Yankee lineup that led the league in home runs. Wally Pipp led the American League in home runs in 1916, 1917. Mm-hmm. Because he was with Babe Ruth, Bob Meusel, Joe Dugan, and Waite Hoyt, I believe is how you say. It says the Yankees won 3 consecutive American League pennants from 1921 to 1923.
Right.
Does it sound semi-familiar to any guy that you've heard of recently?
No.
That might have gotten benched again Sunday night?
Who?
The old story of Drew Bledsoe.
That's a good one.
And the Tom Brady roast, I think you discussed that a little bit, because on Sunday night, Bill Belichick once again, he followed Drew Bledsoe and went to the mic and said, Drew, I'm benching you again for Tom Brady.
Yeah. The Tom Brady roast. I hadn't seen it yesterday. I still haven't seen the whole thing because it was 3 hours long.
Yeah, he's roast.
Like,
sure.
what are we doing? But they got after it pretty good. It was a little bit different than what I expected to be. I thought it was going to be pretty milquetoast and vanilla as far as what was happening, but it was pretty aggressive. If you ended that kind of thing, they gave everything you wanted from it, for sure.
Again, if you have forgotten the Drew Bledsoe story, I mean, again, he comes out. He was drafted by Parcells. This is the one little caveat there, is that the new coach made the change, but he got hit by Mo Lewis of the Jets.
One of the most vicious hits you'll ever see.
Bledsoe has called it clean. He said it was clean. I didn't realize, by the way, this is a little disgusting. Cover your ears if you want. That the chest cavity filled with blood and got worse, but the lung never collapsed. So maybe the lung capacity diminished. But by the time he was cleared to play later that season. He was actually cleared to play. They never put him back in. And the following year, he was indeed traded. And the rest, as it says, is history. Brady would remain the starting quarterback, and Bledsoe would be traded to the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah. So that happens. It happens a lot of times, especially when you have a coach who's itching to get the next guy, and you can't really figure out a way how to do this instead of just doing it. That can happen. Like I said, Drew Bledsoe never saw that, never wore the Patriots blue again.
I'm like you, because I've just not had time to check that roast out. There does appear to be one uncomfortable part where apparently somebody made a joke at Robert Kraft's expense, and Tom Brady has not handled it. Now, late yesterday afternoon, I saw some articles coming out. I think Vanity put one out that basically said, we don't know if Brady said something to the effect of like, let's just not make that one again, or if he used some certain words to make it known not to cut up with Robert Kraft about any massages now or in the future.
Yeah, Robert Kraft, the boss man, is above everybody. Everybody else can get it, but Tom Brady made sure that, and he was talking about Jeffrey Ross, who's the roast master, and it was a easy joke. I mean, the jokes probably write themselves at that for that particular instance. But Tom Brady said, hey, listen, this is about me. We're going to make the jokes on Tom Brady. So they made all the jokes about, never made many jokes about his hair, which I was really expecting.
You were expecting
Tom
more there?
Brady's hair is a mess.
If you've seen it, let us know what you think. I'll get into it probably this weekend at some point as we move through. I like good comedy, and guys who seem to take themselves a little too seriously, like a Tom Brady. I kind of want to see how that.
Yeah, I mean, they went at him. They went at him tough. They went at him hard.
Yeah, I heard they made a joke about how he had 8 rings, or he won. I forget the exact. He's got one back now. You're listening to the early game. Bill Gunner for Old Timey Meat Market, Irmo, South Congaree, or Lexington. I know it's only Tuesday, but I can't help about thinking ahead to Mother's Day on Sunday and what we're going to do. Whether we're going to smoke some food, grill out, or just have a nice sit-down family dinner, it's all going to start with Old Timey Meat Market. Because whether I'm looking for beef, pork, poultry, or seafood, I can guarantee I'm going to find the best meat buying experience there. And at any given time, you are going to find the shelves stocked with various cuts of grades of beef, pork, poultry, seafood, exotic meats, always fresh, never frozen, competitively priced, and of the absolute highest quality. Now, I visit the Lexington store, but you can go visit St. Andrews Road in Irmo or the South Congaree store. From custom cuts to special orders, Old Timey Meat Market is going to make that Mother's Day the absolute best this year. So go visit Old Timey Meat Market today. Tell them Bill Gunner sent you.
And out there on the highways for Tuesday morning, we are seeing an accident at I-77 northbound just after Killian Road. And a report of maybe an object on the roadway, I-77 southbound just before Blythewood Road. That would be exit 27. 90 for the high today, maybe a mix of clouds and sun. 92 tomorrow with a late storm possible and some afternoon or evening storms. On Thursday, 86 will be the high. But, man, it's going to be a nice evening for baseball tonight. Currently, it's 67 on the early game.
$7 a.m. as we get you up on a Tuesday morning. Bill Gunner, Preston Thorne, Jen Jensen. No J.C. Sherbert today. He will rejoin us next week. But don't worry, we've got plenty of content from last night's NBA playoffs, where this is kind of the odd thing where you get into the playoffs and you're kind of watching because I think the NBA regular season, I think it actually might be less watched because there's so much other stuff going on. College basketball, football is carrying over, NFL's carrying all the way into February. Some people might watch like Major League Baseball now, just put it on in the evening, whether you find a random game. At least you kind of watching. You maybe not aren't paying attention, but I think the NBA might be the least watched regular season out of all the sports. And so, like last night, when you flip it on, you're like, "Oh, playoff game! All right, let me catch this here for a second." And you're like, "What? Jalen Brunson's scoring 40 now."
Again?
When did for the fourth time? Huh? Oh, are we doing? Is this what Jalen Brunson? Oh, okay. Jalen Brunson is this good? Oh, okay.
Apparently, it's still pretty surprising to me every time I see it. Like, huh? All right, it's a thing.
Like Jalen Brunson last night, just poor Andrew Nebhard, who last night just Jalen Brunson like physically was pointing him out, pointing him over, and then just whipping him. Brunson with 43 last night, and the Knicks win 121-117. And that was one of those games I think you kind of talked about when it is cool when it's in New York and it's in the Garden and they're showing the celebrities. And now you've got kind of this old school little Reggie Miller Knicks back and forth. Kind of takes us back to when, I guess, we'll be those old guys. When basketball was basketball.
Real basketball.
Men were men, and yeah.
89-85 final.
when John Starks was out there and Michael Jordan. But, yeah, Knicks and Pacers last night. And also, oh, my goodness, if you haven't seen it, Google it today. The highlight of Aaron Nesmith, former South Carolina standout from Porter God, the dunk he had in that game last night.
The idea, the audacity for you to think that it is okay for you to do that type of dunk in a game.
Oh no, that's Obi Toppin.
Oh,
that was Obi Toppin.
I'm sorry.
I've seen that. And what Preston's referring to last night is Obi Toppin gets a breakaway.
Yes.
And he did this in the Milwaukee series and missed it.
Mm-hmm.
But he gets a clean breakaway. Nobody's in front of him or really within about 3 or 4 feet behind him. And he goes between his legs and dunks in a game. And he missed it in the Milwaukee series.
And he did it again.
And so he was like, if at first you don't succeed, try again.
That's that short memory that they talk about.
Coach had a much longer memory. I did not see an interview afterwards, but no, Obi Toppin. But Nesmith got to his right last night and had a dunk on somebody in that game.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron Nesmith. I need to confirm this, by the way. I need to just confirm this, but I am 98% sure, 99% sure South Carolina took Jermaine Cousinard because Aaron Nesmith committed to Vanderbilt.
Okay.
I know that part. I'm pretty certain that's the player I'm thinking of. So Nesmith's hanging out in the NBA. Cousinard's hanging out at Oregon, or was hanging out at Oregon playing college ball. Just
still
for the record on that, yeah.
Scoring 40 against us.
Yes. Yeah. Not against the Knicks, though. Nesmith with 12 last night for the Pacers, but they lose. But yes, Jalen Brunson last night, 44 minutes, 14 of 26 from the field, hit 14 of 14 free throws, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, and 43 points. Because that's what I thought of what Jalen Brunson would be doing in the pros.
Man, listen, when he was playing with the Mavericks, he was nice. He was a nice piece. It was cool. Obviously, knew it was Luka's team, and then the Knicks signed him for what I thought was an outrageous contract. I was like, what? Oh, there go. I was like, there go the Knicks again, overspending on some guy, and apparently he is exactly what they needed. You put Jalen Brunson, old school type of player, Tom Thibodeau, if you put Tibbs, he's still coaching like it's 94.
Oh, yeah. He's defensive-minded.
He's defensive-minded. You know, you got Dante DiVincenzo. The Knicks it is about the most New York Knicks team that it could play. It's like maximum Knicks. They're gritty, they're tough. They got a bunch of city guys that are playing on the team. This is a team that fan base can really, really embrace. As far as like calling, they're kind of underdog-ish. They're gritty. They're not a lot of showtime.
They only play 5 guys, too.
Yeah, well, that's Tibbs.
Yeah,
Tibbs going to run you in the ground.
4 dudes played 40 minutes last night. Yeah. 1 played 36. It was.
That's what they do. That's who they are. But it is fun watching playoff basketball in the Garden. And as you said, Jalen Brunson with another 4 straight postseasons. I'm reading up here. 4 straight postseason games with 40 and 5.
Yeah, again, this is where you flip because you haven't watched all season because you're like, I'm not watching the NBA when South Carolina baseball's on or the NFL's on or South Carolina basketball, men's and women's is on. I'm not catching the beginning when it's college football season. So you get to April, and it's kind of like the spring game wraps up, the Masters, the Heritage, all these things happen in April, and then you're like, oh, okay, all right. Hey, there's NBA playoffs. Oh, the Timberwolves are a 3 seed? The Oklahoma City. Who even plays for the Thunder?
Yeah, well, you've probably seen that ridiculous commercial, and you're like, I hate this commercial. I don't even know who these dudes are. And then you see like, oh, wait, they're the number 2 seed? What?
Yeah.
Oh, how'd this happen?
Exactly. That's what's exactly happening. They're actually the 1 seed. Oklahoma City's the 1.
That's right. They're the 1
Nuggets
seed.
are the 2, and the Timberwolves are the 3.
Right.
But, yeah, if you were flipping around, you caught that. And then mentioning that last night, the Timberwolves absolutely demolished the Denver Nuggets. And I thought the Nuggets were just – after what I saw last year, I thought the Nuggets would go on and we'd get a Nuggets-Celtics final. I don't think the Nuggets are going to win a game in this Minnesota series.
Ooh.
And Minnesota, number one, they play incredible defense.
That's one. By the way,
in the playoffs, they're the number 1 rated defensive and offensive team in the playoffs.
That is a recipe for success, obviously. They got Phoenix out of here. They're getting Minnesota out here. That's one reason why I would say – if you're not on board with the Anthony Edwards thing, you appreciate two-way players. He plays defense. He plays defense with the same intensity that he plays offense with. He's not just a guy who's going to sit around and shoot. He's a two-way. He's a true two-way player. He reminds you of some older players where he has a mid-range game, plays with his back to the basket. If you're somebody who's looking for the basketball of he definitely has a lot of those traits that you can play. And again, Minnesota's playing very, very physical. Basically they're beating Denver up, which might be their approach to beat this team.
And so it does raise a quick question. If you're gonna jump into some playoff basketball, do you make Minnesota your team? Because I don't know if they've ever qualified for lovable loser status, but obviously their history is not very good. In terms of, again, overall longevity, again, kind of I think what they came in, I think in 89, I believe is when they started, 88, 89.
Well,
90.
the thing about Minnesota was with obviously KG being the face of the franchise, we gave KG a pass because KG tried to make everything, he tried as hard as he could.
But he had Marbury.
Right, and then that fell apart because they were both, really young and immature, I would say. But we gave KG a pass. It was like, look, he tried as hard as he can to make this thing work. You deserve to go somewhere where you have an opportunity to win. So he goes to Boston, becomes a champion. I think everybody was okay with that. I think this is another reason why I would say, hey, this Anthony Edwards thing is really cool because he gets drafted by Minnesota. He hasn't tried to force his way out.
And so is Karl Anthony Towns.
Yep. Cat's a funny dude, interesting dude.
Wild dude.
Yeah. He hasn't tried to force his way out. He hasn't tried to make a big stink about playing in an outpost part of the NBA. He's just essentially said, I'm going to go to this team, and we're going to make this team and franchise better. And I think that's something that we all said. This is what we said. That's what we wanted out of our players. When the guys were picking super teams and free agency, that was everybody's argument. Oh, these guys all teaming up. Well, hey, we got a guy who is taking his franchise where he's going. So it's kind of time to put your money where your mouth is. If that's what you support, this is a guy who is actually doing it.
Yeah, I mean, again, this is a team. They have been in the playoffs the last 3 years. They lost 4-2 to the Grizz, 4-1 to the Nuggets last year. Now they're about to stomp the Nuggets out of the play. In my opinion, they are. But you have to go back. They've been to the conference finals once. And that's where I ask, is this lovable loser status for the Timberwolves, or because they're in Minnesota, because it's been 03-04, so you're going 20 years. They did get to the conference finals and lost to the Lakers that year, 4-2. Kevin Garnett was the MVP. That was prime Garnett days, and then they were in the Timberwolves. So I don't know if you tuned in, you're like, oh, Timberwolves, they're a bunch of losers.
They are.
I'll pull for them. This is new.
This is a thing you could bet. And I just thought about this. Anthony Edwards has ascended past Ja Morant on this guy is about to be the face of the league status ranking. Probably Ja and Zion for various reasons. Ja being more stuff off the court, and he had injuries combined with that. Zion injuries, etc. But Anthony Edwards has ascended to where, hey, this guy is becoming the face of the league. He has a new shoe. He has a good smile. He's engaging as a personality, whatever that means. I think it's very interesting how this is playing out.
So you had that last night going for you in terms of the NBA, NHL as well last night. I'll admit, I just struggled. I've struggled this year with the NHL. Boston last night, 5-1 over Florida. Is that those second round has gotten going. Hurricanes tonight and New York, the Rangers. I got to admit, I will make more of an effort on that. There was a great series last week, Dallas and Vegas. Look, again, I'll say it. If you were to go, all right, what do you want to watch tonight? You want to watch NBA or NHL? If you were to throw them and say you can only watch one, I would, even though I've gotten less into it than the NBA, I would choose tonight the Hurricanes and the Rangers at 7 o'clock tonight. I would choose the NHL. So you got that going for you as well. 803-404-6100. We will talk some South Carolina baseball this hour as well. Let you listen to a little Mark Kingston from the post-game show yesterday with Jay Phillips. But up next, I've got a question for you. Who reaches journeyman status easier, centers in basketball or wide receivers in football?
It's a good one.
I'll let Preston try and answer that because I got a couple examples here. I got a couple examples, and we'll throw an Odell Beckham Jr. at you. You're listening to Preston Thorne, Bill Gunner, she's Jen Jensen. It's the early game. Mother's Day is Sunday, and I hope you got a bunch of great things planned, like breakfast in bed, or maybe a nice brunch, or just maybe family coming over to the house to celebrate all those great mothers out there. But if you got family coming over, is the house ready? Is it clean? Don't let mom clean the house this year for Mother's Day. Do it by calling the cleaning pros at Zerorez Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning. That will make the home insanely clean and ready for a nice little Mother's Day celebration. Only Zerorez cleans with ZR water technology, proven to clean better than detergents with zero residue left behind. So call today, 803-262-4020. Mention me, Bill Gunner, at 1075 The Game, and get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned for only $129. You can also schedule online, ZerosColumbia.com. Again, mention me, Bill Gunner, at 1075 The Game, and get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned for only $129. Zero, spell it backwards or forwards. It's the right way to clean. All right, I'll record Zero Res now, and then let me see here. All right, Zero Res Carpet 30 in 3, 2, 1. There's a lot to celebrate this month. Graduation, the end of school, and warmer months ahead. Celebrate in clean homes by calling the cleaning pros at Zero S Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning. Their patented technology, ZR Water, is scientifically proven to clean better than detergents. Right now, mention me, Bill Gunner, at 1075 The Game, and get 3 rooms of carpet clean for only $129. Book online, ZerosColumbia.com. Zero, spell it backwards or forwards. It's the right way to clean. Carpet 15 in 3, 2, 1. It's not too late for a deep spring cleaning on your home. Give my friends at Zero S Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning a call today. Right now, mention me, Bill Gunner, at 1075 The Game, and you'll get 3 rooms of carpet clean for only $129. Book online at ZerosColumbia.com. Duck 30 in 3, 2, 1. Breathe easier in your home with Zero S Air Duct Cleaning. You'd be shocked by the amount of dust and debris that is currently sitting in your duct system. With Zero S Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning having over 2,000 reviews and a 4.9 rating, you can trust Zero S to get your air ducts insanely clean. Right now, mention me, Bill Gunner, at 1075 The Game, and you'll get $50 off your next air duct cleaning. Use promo code AIR50 when scheduling online at ZerosColumbia.com. And last one, Duck 15. Breathe easier in your home with Zero S Air Duct Cleaning. Right now, mention me, Bill Gunner, at 1075 The Game, and you'll get $50 off your next air duct cleaning. Use promo code AIR50 when scheduling online at ZerosColumbia.com.
Enterprise Parkway at Technology Drive in West Columbia, we have a report of an accident there. Also, Hope Ferry at Highway 378. Smith Pond Road at Two Notch Road, we also have a report of an accident there. So hopefully your Tuesday morning commute is going well. 90 will be our high today under some cloudy skies. 92 tomorrow. Could see a late storm. And then Thursday, some afternoon or evening storms. 86 for the high. We'll drop into kind of the low 80s for Friday. And maybe even 77 with sun on Saturday. But right now, it's overcast, and it is 69 on the early game.
Reminder.
Welcome back in to the early game. This is Preston Thorne, Bill Gunner, Jen Jensen. We're back in here. We're coming to have the conversation. Bill posed the question, one of our favorite reoccurring segments. Is he a journeyman or nah? Journeyman or nah? You said that you had some guys I'm not even sure. This is the beauty of this. So sometimes we keep things so that we can have the true, authentic reaction. So, Bill, you have some guys.
So this centers around Odell Beckham Jr. He's now going to sign and be a part of this Miami Dolphins team.
Which, by the way, can you name the other teams which Odell Beckham Jr. has played for?
Yeah, that's good. I just looked, though.
Okay.
Ravens, Browns, Rams, Giants. Ravens. Wait a minute. Dolphins, Ravens, Rams, Browns, Giants.
There you go.
Okay. Yeah.
So,
right.
with that being the number 5, he's officially qualified.
What number are you going for?
I think 4.
4?
I think 4 is my number. Once you hit 4 teams, and then maybe there's an acceleration rate towards the end where it's like team after team after team.
That's what we got. So if you hit 4 in that acceleration, so if I told you a guy played for the San Francisco 49ers and was really good, then went to the Oakland Raiders and was pretty good,
Okay.
and then ended up in Seattle,
All right.
and then finished in Denver, could you name that receiver? I'll give you one other hint. He is from an HBCU.
No.
So would we classify Jerry Rice as a journeyman in his career once he gets back? This is a great question. Odell Beckham Jr. has had a very good career. He's actually, I say this, I don't
Has
know.
he?
Yep. Yeah, I give him solid career status. He's a Super Bowl champion. He was Offensive Rookie of the Year. He's a 2-time second team All-Pro, 3-time Pro Bowler. Then that's not counting his college career. In the NFL, he is sitting on 59 touchdowns, 566 receptions for 7,932 yards.
You say that, and you're right. He has had a solid NFL career. And it reminds me of the same types of conversation that we have around Clowney. I think we have the same types of conversation around Clowney and Odell and OBJ because they came into the league with so much fanfare. They might have come in very similar years, if I'm got my timelines right.
He was drafted in 14. Started in 14.
So they come in with a lot of fanfare. They have solid, productive NFL careers, but either through injury or for whatever reasons, I'm not sure if either one of them ever lived up to the hype, which is not their fault, but the hype that surrounded them with their NFL careers. You know, OBJ, you think about the Monday night, the catch, he was flashy. There was a lot of talk around, a lot of conversation around who and what he was supposed to be. Then he has these injuries. Unfortunately, he goes to Cleveland. I just don't know if he ever lived up to what we thought he was going to be.
He is, as I scroll down a little bit further away, actually much further down. I did not realize this, so now you've changed my opinion. He is 118th all time in receiving yards. So I'm not sure that to me that's not even close to Hall of Fame material.
Oh no. Yeah, he's not a Hall of Famer.
Okay, all right.
So you were leaning towards him being a Hall.
To me,
can you get in the Hall of Fame by making one play?
All right. What has occurred to me? This is actually, I want everybody to listen to this, especially people our age, early 40s, with kind of teenage-esque type kids. All right. Odell Beckham Jr. is the byproduct of my son telling me how good he is because my son owned an iPad, owns a cell phone, and when there is a massive catch or a emotional outburst, my son's coming to me going, "Oh, have you seen what OBJ did? Have you seen this?" Whereas, so now his name is forced into my eardrums more by the younger generation than it would have been had I not had a child, probably.
100%. And again, he was sort of a guy that was taking marketing in a different direction. He has the funny colored hair. He does all types of weird things with his. He's a good looking dude. There was a lot of things that were built around OBJ being this force, and because of injury later, his emotional outbursts on the sidelines, combined with him making the tremendous catches, as you stated, there was a lot of attention around him. He's sort of like a lightning rod for a lot of people. But when you actually get down into the numbers, he's a solid NFL wide receiver.
Solid
NFL wide receiver. And that's why this signing with Miami is everybody's like, they got OBJ. It's like, the Ravens had him last year too, and he was a piece of that puzzle. He was not the number one target, not even number two. He was really like the number 3 guy as just a random receiver that we can throw the ball to. But him being groundbreaking or really changing a team, that part of his career is over.
I think so. The question then for me though is, do wide receivers, and I've got another name for you that I'll throw it, who becomes journeymen quicker, wide receivers or centers, big centers
in basketball?
Because it feels like with wide receivers, even though we talk about running backs, like when the running back hourglass is out, they're out. Todd Gurley-esque. They're done. Too many hits. But it feels like wide receivers, you're always like, they got a little more left in the tank. They got a little more that they can produce and add, kind of like big men in basketball. Oh, they're big. I mean, I go back to maybe, well, I don't want to go down this path. One of the greatest big men of all time, Shaquille O'Neal, one of the greatest.
Easily.
And what happened?
Not debatable.
And what happened at the very end of his career?
The big cactus?
I mean, can you name
the big shamrock?
Can you name the 3 teams he played for after he left the Heat?
The big cactus was the Phoenix.
Mm-hmm.
The big shamrock was the Celtics.
Mm-hmm.
And he had a stint maybe in Cleveland.
You are correct. 6.
The big, I don't know what they called him in, the big Cavalier.
08, 09 in Phoenix, 9, 10 in Cleveland, and 10, 11. I think he was called Little LeBron in Cleveland. But, I mean, you see these centers, and they do the same thing late in the career. All of a sudden, you're like, they're with that team? Okay, all right. Coming off the bench, 12 minutes a night, got it. Same thing with these wide receivers where late in their career, they're just kind of bumping around and ending up in random places.
Yeah, you can do that. You think about some of those, I think about, Ocho Cinco. He had a stint where he was with the Bengals, but then there was a Patriots run there for a little while, and then, you just sort of bounce around from team to team. That is the thing that happens because they think these guys can, and you can sign them for cheap, and they think these guys can provide some extra receptions for the team. But as I said, this is the only reason why this is in signing for Miami is because he made a catch on Monday Night Football 10 years ago, and he still has that sort of cachet. But as far as a player on the field, OBJ is very much middle of the pack.
Yeah, he's pretty much cashed out. I will be interested to see how he impacts the Dolphins this year. He'll be 32 November 5th. But again, this is a thing of, I think, he's got a few catches left in the tank. The problem is mentally he's perfectly fine and won't cause any locker room problems at all.
Yeah, and also OBJ was like, Miami? I
can make that work.
I can sign there.
He can go down and play a little golf, or a little soccer with Lionel Messi. Because remember, there's a lot of things about that. Odell Beckham Jr. probably could have been on the U.S. Olympic national team for soccer.
I've read that, and I've seen that. I've seen that before for sure.
803-404-6100. That's how you can weigh in if you want to do so this morning. We'll get into a little bit of baseball when we come back. South Carolina with a big baseball series starting Thursday night, but tonight a game against Winthrop, 5:45 pregame, 6 o'clock first pitch. You're listening to Preston Thorne, Bill Gunner. She's Jen Jensen.
Still working in earlier accident, Enterprise Parkway at Technology Drive. Also, I-77 northbound at Percival Road. That would be exit 15 on I-77 northbound. The left lane is currently blocked, so obviously going to need to stay right. Smith Pond Road at Two Notch Road, an accident there. And Hope Ferry Road at Highway 378 in Lexington, an accident as well. And your forecast, going to be a little bit cloudy today. 90 will be our high. 92 tomorrow with a late storm. 86 for Thursday, afternoon or evening thunderstorms might be rolling in then. But right now it's not too bad. 68 with a little bit of a breeze and some clouds on the early game.
$7:34. Want to let you know if you're forgetting about Mother's Day. Well, guess what? That is this Sunday. And if you forgot to pick up a present, last minute things, guess what? 107.5 The Game has your chance to send mom to Atlanta's Evergreen Lakeside Resort and a family 4-pack of passes to Stone Mountain Park. Go to 107.5 The Game's Facebook page to qualify. So again, it's great even for the family. But if you want to give it for Mother's Day, that's a great idea. Go to 107.5 The Game. Get your chance to send mom to Atlanta's Evergreen Lakeside Resort and a family 4-pack of passes to Stone Mountain Park. You can go to 1075thegame.com's Facebook page and qualify there. 803-404-6100. Earlier, we were cutting up about the news last night of Shane Beamer announcing Lenore Sellers as the starter, at least for now, over Robbie Ashford. Vern wants to weigh in on leadership and Luke Doty. Vern, what's on your mind this morning? How you doing?
How you doing? I'm glad to renew my conversation with you and Preston Stone. You know, one thing, let's go down the fact line with Shane Beamer. Shane Beamer was using that same playbook with Muschamp leaving the office when he left about 4 years ago. Shane Beamer made the statement that Luke Doty would have been the starting quarterback for his team. What happened to that?
He broke his foot.
He broke his foot. His foot is healed now. That's 2 years ago and then some. What happened to that?
He got beat out by a better quarterback than Spencer Rattler.
Hey, look, it's stuff and things like that. I don't know Shane Beamer. I don't. I'm gonna just be honest and stuff and things like that. What you saw Lenore Sellers, he reminded me of a young lady I used to talk to with that name. But anyway, that's beside the point and stuff and things like that. I think Shane Beamer needs to kind of go ahead and stick to his word because
he's going to do that.
Huh?
He's going to do that.
Yeah, he needs to stick with his word. I know. Hey, Seller might be one of the best quarterbacks on this side of the universe. I don't know, but I know one thing: Shane Beamer, by jumping all over the place, saying this and saying that, that's not going to help that football team and stuff. I just wanted to say that, Luke Doty been there a while. The Carolina Johnner got screwed. Now Luke Doty on the screwed list. I figured he would have had to find somebody else to screw, but hey, look, I might just be looking at it, the horse at the wrong end, but I really do think Shane Beamer is making a big mistake with Sellers. But then again, hey, he with him every day. So you all be blessed and everything. I just wanted to put that in and stuff. Give Luke Doty a chance to prove himself because he's been there long enough. So you all be blessed, and
you too,
maybe I'll talk to you later if God willing. Thank you.
Take care. 803-404-6100 if you want to weigh in this morning.
Luke Doty does have good hair. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, and that you're right, and he does. Is he going back out again?
Yeah,
because he went with the buzz cut. I was like, Luke, you got all your life to wear that buzz cut. Wear your hair long now, son.
Yeah,
while you have a chance.
It's short, but it kind of had a feathered look to it. I was kind of.
My advice to any young person listening: wear your hair long while you can, because it might not be there later.
I have not
good point.
seen Luke Doty's hair lately. Was it like this at the spring game?
I did not
Is
get
there maybe I can get a picture? 803-404-6100. Best hair you've seen at the University of South Carolina. Mike Kotsar was up there.
a lot of product.
Mike Kotsar, that
Lot
he
of
played
product.
hard, he played aggressively, and there wasn't a hair that went out of place
A lot of product.
on his head there when he played.
Good cut, a lot of product. Good cut, a lot of product. Hassani Gravett, I think, is up
Sonny
there.
Gravett,
Yeah.
best hair that you played with there, that helmet.
Savell Newton. Savell had a
Really?
nice hair. Good hair, especially when you blow it out, take it out the braids. A lot of hair.
Colin Murray
Really?
Boyles also gets a very good kind of.
Colin Murray Boyles has the braids that I would expect him to have. I don't know how else. I don't know how else to classify it, but he has the schoolboy braids that I would expect him to have. He's just a nice, upstanding young man with very straight back cornrows that are perfectly in place.
Well done, perfectly in place. Okay.
Yeah, he's gonna.
there's-
Yeah, we're
We got the
scouting
Luke
out.
Doty.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's
Grow it out.
Grow it out.
He can
You
grow it long.
He's going for that summer
Yeah.
beach look there.
Let it go.
803-404-6100. Mark Kingston baseball tonight. They are on the road. Preston Thorne, Winthrop. You want to look ahead to this. We can. South Carolina does not. They've got a chance since the start of SEC play. A little bit different when you get in. We go back to that Ole Miss series. If you go after the Ole Miss series, they have had wins over USC Upstate 14-8. They have knocked off Presbyterian 19-14. Then on Wednesday, April the 3rd, they had that ugly loss to Georgia Southern
On TV.
8-0. That has been their only midweek loss. They bounced back with a neutral site victory over North Carolina. They knocked off Citadel. They did not play a series in between Arkansas and Kentucky. They got East Tennessee State last week in the Mercy Rule, 15-2. These are the games that do push you a little bit across the finish line when it comes to higher seeding, trying to fight for a super regional.
Yeah, they need every win as possible, and not just for higher seeding, for momentum purposes, right? You got 2 out of 3 out of Missouri, coming off a big win on the Sunday. You want to keep that going into the next series. So yeah, you're right. They cannot look ahead. Of course, one game at a time, one pitch. You got to get 27 outs. Blah 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 blah. But the momentum that's going to help them from winning this midweek game as they push forward, I think that's more important than anything else.
Yesterday, D1 Baseball updated their top 25. Tennessee, the opponent in 2 weeks, checks in at number 1. Clemson at 2. Texas A&M at 3. Kentucky at 4. Arkansas at 5. South Carolina will still, if things continue to hold, will still have played all 5 of the current top 5 this season. North Carolina at 11. South Carolina checks in at 13. This weekend's opponent, Georgia, is at 15 in those polls. And also yesterday, a nice little prize for the Gamecocks. Cole Messina named SEC Player of the Week, going 9 of 14, 7 runs scored, 2 doubles, a triple, 3 home runs, 2 stolen bases. By the way, when catchers steal bases, I'm just amazed. I feel like with the knees, and most of them are, I always think of someone like Pudge Rodriguez. I'm like, oh, catcher stealing bases?
It's the element of surprise. He's not going. Is he? He just stole a base.
This is Messina's first SEC Player of the Week honor. It is also the first for South Carolina since Ethan Petrie earned the award last season during the week of April the 10th. So good for them tonight. Tyler Pitzer expected to take the mound for the Gamecocks up in Rock. Again, game is in Rock Hill, 6 o'clock. You can hear it right here on 107.5 The Game, 5:45 pregame, 6 o'clock first pitch. Winthrop coming off a 2-game rain-shortened series with Radford winning the first 8-6 and losing the second one 5-4. Gamecocks lead the series 26-7. And going back pre-SEC, those games I was talking about, South Carolina beat Winthrop 12-2 here in Columbia back on February 20th.
I remember that because we were saying that they were gassing up the trucks pretty early, gassing up the buses early.
I think the Winthrop coach was like, you guys want me to just go get that thing ready and y'all come on?
Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah, so hopefully they take care of business in a similar fashion this week as they get prepared for the big series this weekend.
803-404-6100. Tim in Charlotte goes with Steven Garcia. Pre-haircut.
Nice cut.
Yeah, nice one.
Nice hair. I won't say nice cut. He didn't have necessarily a style to it. It was just a lot.
And then Texter goes with Aaliyah Boston in the hair.
Solid.
Very solid.
Obviously, that's a solid pick.
This is not at all a criticism, but I don't understand the long braids like that. They're beautiful, but I would think as you're running, that's hitting you in the back all the time, and I would just think that would be uncomfortable, you know.
Like
so
an extra.
And it almost seems like it'd be heavy. So I mean, props to them for playing with the hair like that, because I look at that and think, oh my gosh, it's not in your face, and that's a good thing, but it's just seems heavy, and it would just be smacking you a lot. So wouldn't be comfortable, but it must be. Clearly, it hadn't stopped her.
I'm always deeply concerned for the players with ponytails or hair sticking out the back, because I feel like if you
Fair
can get
game.
a horse collar, that thing's out there for fair game.
1,000%.
Yeah.
Ask Angel Reese; she'll pull your hair in a heartbeat.
Absolutely. I would also like to nominate, and I was looking for Tina Roy.
I got a Tina Roy text from Zach.
Tina Roy, immaculate bob every time she stepped on the court. Not a hair out of place. It was perfectly, I think maybe the word is layered, maybe. I don't know. Exquisite. Every single time she stepped on the court.
Keep sending,
immaculate.
Keep sending them in. You're the best hair that you've seen at the University of South Carolina. We got a Tina Roy.
Every time.
We got a Garcia. We got an Aaliyah Boston. A couple people going Steve Tannehill. We'll continue. We'll run our own poll. You're listening to Preston Thorne, Bill Gunner, Jen Jensen. It's the early game. Bill Gunner for Mid-State Roofing. For nearly 30 years, Larry Leitner and the Mid-State Roofing family have been taking care of the Midlands, Florence, Myrtle Beach, and the surrounding areas, making sure that your operation stays dry and running. So you want to give them a call. We've had some rain recently. We've got more summer thunderstorms on the way. It's time for you to speak with a Mid-State Roofing employee or an on-call technician, and you can do that 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You'll speak with someone with Mid-State Roofing that'll help put you in a maintenance contract. And as I just said, we'll give you a protective guarantee that'll keep your operation dry and running long into the future. So make that phone call today, 803-356-1919. You can visit them online as well, midstateroofing.com. But again, make the phone call, line up an appointment, get someone out to the house or the business, and make sure that if you've got a leak, Mid-State Roofing is the one doing the peak. Give them a call today. Bill Gunner for the Ecton Law Firm. Are tax troubles weighing you down? If so, you don't need to let that stress bother you. The stress of taxes, levies, liens. Don't let them hold you back any longer. Local attorney John Ecton and his team are ready to help. Give them a phone call today for a free consultation. 803-771-9800. They have a local team dedicated to resolving your income or business tax issues for good. So again, whether you're here in Columbia Whether you're in Florence, whether you're in Myrtle Beach, whether you're in one of the surrounding areas this morning, John Ecton is ready to give you the peace of mind you deserve. They'll do it with proven local solutions, just like they have used to help thousands of families and businesses just like yours escape the IRS maze. So go ahead, take the first steps right now to a worry-free life. Call the Ecton Law Firm today, 803-771-9800. Get that free consultation and discover how the Ecton Law Firm can transform your tax issues into a thing of the past. Bill Varnu. This is from a texter. Says, see if you can find a picture. My man had the receding mane of a 40-year-old going up and down the court in the late 80s, which then made me think of one of your teammates, Robert Pavlovic.
Pav. Wow, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Send us in your best. We've gone down a path on Luke Doty for a second, growing the hair out. We saw it in the press conference after during the week of the spring game. Several of y'all going with Steve Taneyhill. Zach sticking with Tina Roy, says when she is the answer when it's all said and done, which I think Preston was on board with.
Yeah.
Jacob goes with Hayden Hurst as the potential.
Long and red, which is a good combination. That does make for a thing. He would also maybe throw it in a man bun occasionally, I believe, and a ponytail, so that can work.
Best hair, according to this texture, goes to Patrick Fish.
Okay,
you have to look that one up a little bit.
I remember Fish.
We've got a vote for LT Tolbert. So as we throw it out there, this is what happens when we get into NBA playoff time and NHL playoff time. And then this texter, probably a first time, long time, can you please ask Preston who the best athlete ever played with or against is? Because this segment's just not sports enough.
Oh, yeah, I can answer that. Played with, I think the best athlete that I played with was Derek Watson, Squeak. Okay. He was a tremendous athlete, football, basketball, intramural basketball, he was a terror. Weightlifting, he would just come in and just lift whatever weights everybody else was doing without properly warming up. And I always say, and I always make this mention, one of the hardest practice players. Like, he did not know the difference between, hey, this is practice and this is a game. Great teammate for sure. I think he was probably the best athlete that I've ever played with for sure.
And against?
Ooh, that list is probably longer. I remember being especially in awe of Matt Jones from Arkansas, and because he was just long, fast. He was playing quarterback. It didn't look very orthodox, but he kept completing passes and running away from people. So that might be a guy that I remember specifically.
Okay, back to the more important discussions. Mm-hmm. Jeff weighs in and goes with Camilo Cardozo and Steve Taneyhill as the
two viable options. Two viable options.
And we'll take that opportunity to mention.
See, but here's the thing. I think the thing that pulls you ahead in this conversation is, like Camilla would change her hair, right? And so I think you have to have a signature style. So like Aaliyah has the braids. Tina has the bob. Steve has the mullet. I think once you have a signature style, that's what really elevates you in this conversation.
I think so. You stick with it. Yeah, you're all in.
Our buddy Will weighs in with Mike Matulis, who had the
that's a choice.
Dreads, I believe. He goes Matulis there on that. We'll take, by the way, that Camila Cardoso opportunity to mention. Unfortunate news for her. She'll be out 4 to 6 weeks now after suffering a shoulder injury in a preseason game Friday.
I saw that.
Organization announced yesterday, so she will be out 4 to 6 weeks and will delay her start, the number 3 pick in the draft last month. Unfortunately, we'll now have to sit there and watch Angel Reese and her head of hair.
Which they were showing a couple highlights of the two of them working in tandem in the game. And, I mean, some good stuff with the
It's
two of them.
it's gonna be a good combination when she gets
When she's
healthy.
healed. Yep.
Angel Reese does seem like someone that if she's your teammate. I'm not even saying you're the fan of, but if she's on your teammate and she's your, she's awesome. And if she's on the other team, she's awful.
Right. Yeah.
Awesome,
No,
awful.
I have a feeling because she, despite the antics and stuff, she's talented. I mean, there's no question.
I was going to use the term, and I don't think it's appropriate for women to say it something like, but I was going to say a workhorse because she's not flashy. She's not just scoring at will, but she works so hard. She has such a high motor in terms of being able to grab rebounds. I almost want to compare her slightly to a Dennis Rodman. Not in the zaniness kind of out of the way, but in the way.
I think she might be a tad more skilled, but her game is not a skill game.
Right.
It is based on I'm really going to outwork you and make
and
all
also
these
get
plays.
under your skin.
Get on maybe a Draymond-esque.
Yeah.
Draymond-esque, maybe.
And she picked up a little of Kim's fashion style because she was at an event at the Met.
She went to the Met Gala?
She went to the Met Gala.
Okay.
And look up that outfit. It's ostrich feathers. Yeah.
We may have
it's
to.
Something.
Have you looked at the Met? Can you be our Met correspondent in the next hour? I did not bother with this. Did you just check out? Do we have any fashion there?
Well, Angel Reese. That was a sight to behold.
Ostrich feather tutu? All right.
Yeah. And then kind of sheer down to the toes, and I hope that the straps of the dress don't go left or right. Could be.
Is it considered low cut if the cut goes all the way down to your navel?
Yeah, I think maybe that qualifies. I'm not sure. Yeah. Almost like having suspender straps for a top of a dress.
I'm 2 photos in, and I don't know what we're going to discuss on that. We'll try it. Hour 3 on the way. Bill Gunner for the mortgage guru, Jacob Crowder with First Palmetto Bank. If you've been thinking about refinancing, if you've been thinking about buying a home, maybe you're even looking at a prime piece of property and you want to build a home, now is the time to get in touch with Jacob Crowder and First Palmetto Bank. Jacob is the mortgage guru. I know this for a fact. Used him just a couple years ago to find a great interest rate and to have all the paperwork handled, and it was absolutely fantastic, and he'll do the exact same for you. So make a phone call to the mortgage guru today, 803-719-1005. And even better, First Palmetto Bank, well, they're locally owned and operated right here in the Midlands. They give Jacob local decision makers, which means quick and precise underwriting. So if you're looking to make a move today, call the mortgage guru, Jacob Crowder with First Palmetto Bank, 803-719-1005. Go ahead, make that phone call today, 803-719-1005. Tell him Bill Gunner sent you.
And for your Tuesday morning, taking a peek at traffic conditions, there are a few accidents we do need to make you aware of. Smith Pond Road at Tunetch Road still working that earlier slowdown, as well as I-77 northbound at Percival. Highway 6 at I-20. Also an accident, Hope Ferry Road at 378. Faro at two places, actually. Faro Road at 277, also at I-77. And Enterprise Parkway at Technology Drive. That accident still in the cleanup stages. 90 for the high today under some cloudy conditions. 92 tomorrow, maybe a late storm possible. Some afternoon or evening storms come Thursday and a high of 86, but it's a little bit breezy and overcast. It's 68 on 107.5 The Game.
Hour 3 on the way. We'll get into some more stuff tonight. South Carolina baseball traveling up to Winthrop, 5:45 pregame right here, 107.5 The Game, 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. Gamecocks looking to close out the midweek portion of the schedule, and it'll be freshman Tyler Pitzer getting the start tonight. Pitzer been pretty good so far this year, Preston, and is a guy that maybe you get him a few innings tonight and then maybe turn him loose. He's 4-1 on the season, or I say turn him loose this weekend. 4-1 on the season, 4.31 ERA, 31 and a third innings pitched, 44 strikeouts, 16 walks. And this was Mark Kingston on the post-game show yesterday talking about Tyler Pitzer and why he got the start. This is Mark Kingston talking with Jay Phillips yesterday about Tyler Pitzer.
I'll go ahead. And I don't think I've ever told you who the starting pitcher is going to be for the midweek game, but I'll break that precedent just for you today, Jay. We're going to go with Pitzer, and, it'll probably be a game where we go Johnny Holstaff, but Tyler Pitzer will be the first one to pitch tomorrow night.
It's Jay Phillips there breaking some news yesterday. I think
more breaking news.
Rarely does, if ever, but that's Mark Kingston more so breaking the news. They need to win this one tonight to just keep the momentum. Again, D1 baseball yesterday putting out their top 25. South Carolina checking in at number 13 for them. Georgia is number 15 later on today. Now, this is just I'm just going with what D1 baseball has been typically doing, Preston. But D1 baseball today probably should put out their updated field of 64 projection. The Gamecocks were projected as the number 10 seed last week. Now they go out to Missouri and take 2 of 3. They won the midweek game, so no harm, no foul. I just don't know if it moves them up to number 9 or any higher. I think that's kind of one of those things where the opponents didn't really help you. South Carolina does have 9 quad 1 wins according to the sports and information department down there that put out the game notes.
Yeah, they just had to hold serve this weekend, and they did that. They in dramatic fashion, I would say. But they just had to get through that series, and very similar to how they approached the Winthrop game as they approach Georgia and Tennessee coming up. But those are big series, but then they don't become big series unless they win at Missouri.
Right.
So they had to literally take care of that business.
Gamecocks number 13 in the most recent RPI, number 12 strength of schedule in the country, and that is they actually have this is crazy. You're 13 in the country in the RPI. You have the 6th best RPI in the SEC.
Yeah, we hear this when we talk about recruiting, right? He's like, man, they had the 14th best recruiting class in the nation, 9th in the SEC. He's like, what? Okay.
Yeah, it's the SEC baseball. I had this discussion. I'd have to go back and do some research and talk to people like John Whittle who've really covered it, maybe even Jamie Bradford. is this the best the SEC has ever been in baseball? It's always been good. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say, oh, the SEC was down in 2000 or 2005 or whatever you want to go, in the early. But is this the best the SEC has ever been in baseball? It's been a storied history of SEC baseball. Again, an incredible conference. But have they even taken it up a notch over the last 3 or 4 years? So that's tonight, though. Winthrop, final midweek game of the year. Gamecocks can close out the SEC portion of the midweek games with just one loss, which would actually look really, really good on the resume. Also tonight, again, for me, Preston, be a little bit of NHL hockey. You got the Carolina Hurricanes and the New York Rangers. I'll go ahead and bang the drum for NHL. 7 o'clock tonight. If you're going to sit down and watch hockey, just give it a test run. Give it a one-period test run, all 20 minutes. I would encourage this series right here. It's actually a pretty good one.
Yeah, I like hockey. I like watching hockey in person. I like watching hockey on TV. I just haven't found a compelling reason to get into it this season. Elijah tried to get me into the Nashville Predators. Believe they might have got tossed, so that's over. So I'll give it a shot. I like watching hockey.
It'll be again 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock tonight. Hurricanes and Rangers. Right now, the Rangers took a 1-0 series lead. If you really want to get crazy and wild, Colorado and Dallas, 9:30 tonight. Last night, we talked a little bit of basketball. And again, if you have it, I wonder if people are similar in this vein, that even if you don't really care for the sport, you want to see greatness as it's occurring. Because if you just want to say, you might not like the NBA, I get it. There's a lot of reasons not to. But if you don't like the NBA, are you still willing to tune in to see Anthony Edwards and see what greatness in that sport looks like right now? Whether you're going to like him or hate him. I think more people are going to dislike him. But the way he plays, what he's able to do, the strength, the power, after watching him last night, I say he's the best in the NBA.
Yeah, I disagree. I think a lot of people are going to like him once they actually find out who he is. I think he's engaging. He's entertaining. He has a carefree-ish type of attitude, along when you combine him with the work ethic and him working hard to become. And I think most importantly, what people might find attractive about him is that, one, he plays basketball with a sense of joy. It doesn't feel like it's again, dumping on KD. KD was Kevin Durant, for those that are not in know, for not the cool kids. KD was amazing basketball player, but it never looked like he was enjoying himself on the court. It always looked like it was a burden for him to have to play. You don't get that feeling when you
still looks like a bird when he has to play.
Yeah, and he's just always miserable and grumpy. You don't want to really cheer for that. When I watch Anthony Edwards, it looks like he's enjoying the game. He's having fun. It seems as if he wants to be the ultimate competitor, and he wants to take these dudes out of there. Like he said, he ushered KD out to pasture. He said, "You're my favorite player, but I have to take you out of here now." And you can see those types of things. I think once people really maybe focus on Anthony Edwards, that competitive spirit that people love, they might enjoy watching that play out on a night-to-night basis.
So that would be, I'm interested. I kind of might try and keep a poll on this, tell you to just kind of put some feelers out where Mama Thorne puts Anthony Edwards.
That's a good one. We're going to have to see if this raise. I don't think it's reached our radar yet, but it's probably loading.
Because she may have some decisions to make with Jimmy Butler. She may have, in other NBA news, Pat Riley basically putting it public yesterday. If Jimmy Butler wants to get paid, and he could get paid up to $113 million over the next 2 seasons, they expect him to ask the Heat for his 2-year extension. Pat Riley saying, "Hey, you're going to need to play some games, big guy." And then Jimmy Butler basically saying, "Hey, if I'd have been healthy, we would have beaten either the Knicks or the Celtics."
Yeah, and then
beaten both of them.
And then Pat Riley came back, well, you weren't, so don't talk.
Right.
Essentially, he's like, "Hey, man, that's all well and good, but those teams are still playing, and you're at the F1 race in Miami. Relax."
This is where things usually go wrong for Jimmy. Great player, incredible work ethic, and then he wants to kind of speak his mind, not necessarily against the organization, but it rubs somebody the wrong way. And Pat Riley basically saying that unless you have somebody who's going to be there and available every night, we aren't going to pay.
I think
and in an era of load management, that's interesting. And Butler ain't young either.
That's the couple of big points he made. I think that's a very fair point by Pat Riley. Jimmy Butler's not getting any young, younger. His game is about so again, let's take that. We're just having that Angel Reese type of conversation. Jimmy Butler's game is not based on I'm just that much of a better basketball player. His game is basically I want this more than you do, and I will work harder than you, and I will play harder than you do. But when you don't have the athleticism to do that anymore, or you're just sort of aged out of that ability, I don't know the value that Jimmy Butler actually brings to a roster. If I was Pat Riley, I would move on. And that's a tough decision to make, but I think I would.
We're not going to go down a free agency list here, but I'm open to thanking Jimmy for his services, and
which has been tremendous.
And going because right now you've got we the Heat have Tyler Hero, who missed 40 games this year. Reminder: Tyler Hero's brother, by the way, Austin Hero, is on the roster here for the University of South Carolina. And Tyler missed 40 games, and Jimmy Butler missed 22. We have some nice pieces there with Jaquez Jr. and Bam Adebayo as well, if you can find that third guy.
I was just laughing because if you know Tyler, I think Austin is not Tyler.
You get the difference. There's some differences there.
There's a difference.
Yeah, it's very possible. 803-404-6100. A couple of y'all weighing in. Your buddy, Courtney Levitt, going with Stephon Gilmore, had and still had an amazing do.
Steph has the braids. Steph does have a good solid do for sure.
David Cook going with Raven Johnson.
Yeah, and again, I think what I've landed on is you have to have a signature style. Raven changes hers up, which is awesome, but we have to be able to count on that Tino Roy Bob every game. So it gives us a sense of comfort.
Joe going with Destiny Henderson.
Yes. I'm just cycling back through.
Kent going with Chloe Kitts. See, I think we might have to have separate categories for hair, though, because, again, I still Mike Kotsar, to me, that was that.
It was again, signature.
It was signature.
Every game.
And it did move. It was filled with product, and it was in place. It didn't matter if he was tussling on the floor, banging around the boards, or shooting the three. That Mike Kotsar certainly didn't have any problems. You got one more?
No, I was reaffirming with Destiny because she did have sort of the signature braids parted down the middle with the headband. That's a style. I appreciated it. I think that's the thing. Signature. Give me a signature.
I just have to go back. This is totally off topic. Richard weighs in, says, love Pat Riley. Got that mob look and doesn't take crap from players. Can't be but one boss, my dude. You walk into an Italian restaurant, who are you more afraid of, Pat Riley or Rick Pitino?
Pat.
Are you?
I think it's Pat because I think I got Rick figured out. Pat very much impressed me because Pat's up in age.
79.
He's 79, and he used the word trolled correctly in a sentence. He said, I don't know whether Jimmy's trying to troll us or what. I was like, look at Pat.
Pat's
still with it.
He knows what he's doing.
Yeah, Pat's a tough dude, man, and he's one of those guys who is fascinating life story. Very rough and humble beginnings, and essentially as much of a self-made person as possible. His story is fascinating.
Yeah, incredible. I've actually always enjoyed him. 803-404-6100. You know what else I enjoy? Bowl season. And we might have the best bowl now of any. A celebrity has stepped in, and we're bringing back some 90s music for a bowl game. We'll let the celebrity introduce it when we come back. You're listening to Bill Gunner, Preston Thorne. She's Jen Jensen. It's the early game.
Faro Road at 277, there is a report of an accident there, and at I-77 as well. Also, Highway 1 between Rabin Road and North Chelsea Road. Also, Highway 1 near Kelly Mill, report of an accident there. Highway 6 at I-20. Also, I-77 northbound at Percival Road. Smith Pond Road at Two Notch getting cleaned up there. And Summit Parkway at Summit Center Drive. Kind of a busy morning out on the highways. Weather's going to be nice, just going to be warm. 90 for the high today under cloudy skies. 92 with some late storms tomorrow. And dropping down to a chilly 86 with some afternoon storms on Thursday. But right now, it's not too shabby. It's about 70 on the early game.
$803-404-6100. Want to remind you the craft beer card is back. You can spend $30 at 12 different craft beer locations. It's a $360 value for only $79. Go to 1075thegame.com and click on Sweet Deals. It's the craft beer card. Summer's here. You want to sit and have a beverage on a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Maybe you're watching NASCAR. What is it all this weekend? Good Lord, we have a lot of stuff going on. We have Darlington this weekend. We have the Bassmasters is in town this weekend. You've got Gamecock baseball Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Maybe you want to go check out one of these 12 different breweries, these craft beer locations. And if you've got the craft beer card, you'll be able to spend $30 there. Again, a $360 value, only $79. Go to 1075thegame.com and click on Sweet Deals. I love bowl season. Mm-hmm. I'm all for it. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm a glutton for afternoon sports.
So you love bowl season that much?
I do. I'm all for it. Christmas time, it's a great part of the year. You got parties. You're at a Christmas party. You flip on the weed, the Poland Weed Eater Independence Bowl, or the Nacho Cheese Bowl, the Pop-Tart Bowl. And you just sit back and you relax with
You go to parties and you turn on the TV? Or are these bowl parties?
No, I mean, normally, I'm being dead serious. Normally there's a TV on somewhere and guys have congregated around it in their ugly sweaters and the little Christmas drinks and the finger foods and you just and that's the part. You're just watching two random teams. Kansas State and that's a conference game now, but Kansas State versus Wake Forest on a Wednesday night in Orlando, Florida, doing nothing with 78 fans. We got a new one, a relatively new bowl. Let's let Snoop Dogg announce his new bowl sponsorship.
The sponsor.
All right, Jen, we got it. You ready? So here is Snoop Dogg announcing a new bowl.
College football fans are exhausted by the constant talk around NIL, conference realignment, coach movement, transfer portal, and super conferences. So it's time that we get back to the roots of college football, when it was focused on the colleges, the players, the competition, the community, the fan experience, and the pageantry. Being a fan, coach, supporter of all levels of the game, I sent many players through my SYFL to colleges and the NFL. So it's only fitting that I step up and help get this thing right. I'm ready to bring the juice back to college football. And I'm taking my talents. That's right. To Arizona. Believe me, Arizona, baby. I'm here to announce the new collaboration, the Snoop Dogg Arizona Bowl. Presented by Gin and Juice by Dre and Snoop. The game will be played on December 28th at the University of Arizona Stadium in Tucson, Arizona. I'll be there. Will you be there? Well, guess what? We'll see you there.
Now, I could get involved, and it could be Jen and Juice.
Ooh.
Just
I like
saying.
it. I like it.
Another collaboration possibility.
Mm-hmm.
There was a change up I didn't see coming to that little segment. The Gin and Juice
I
Bowl.
love it.
Not sure how many people will be there. It is the Mountain West and the Mid-American Conference matching up on December 28th in the Gin and Juice Bowl sponsored by Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre.
I say this all the time. If you would have told me in 1994,
Oh, goodness.
when Mama Thorne was raging through the house, wondering what was her child listening to, this new Doggy Style album, which was wildly inappropriate for a young
Wildly
Preston.
enterprise.
Yeah, and she was right. You was right, Mom. I should not have been sneaking that tape into the tape. By the way,
yes.
tape. Sneaking that. If you would have told me that guy has now become all of our favorite dudes, we love this guy, don't we?
He,
I mean,
love him.
seriously, he's like a cool. I've seen him on one of the shows where they do something nice and they remodel a part of somebody's house because they appreciate, like a celebrity will do that. And he did that for this guy who's a local football coach who helps like underprivileged kids and all this. And he fixed up this great backyard, man cave. Coolest dude.
We love him.
I mean, yeah.
We love him. He's Uncle Snoop.
there is, you're right. You're right. 30 years ago.
Mhm.
Gin and Juice, and was it Dog? I guess you could almost call it an album. I was going to say the tape because that's what I had. That's what I had.
It's still an album.
Had the album, but yes, was that indeed 30 years ago?
Yes, it was 1994.
Yes, I remember that. That was the tape that you had to go down to the local record store. Kids, if you're in the car. And there was a time in our life where you didn't have Amazon Music on your phone or your tablet, or you didn't ask Alexa to play something. Make sure my phone doesn't go off when I say Alexa.
Right. You had to have a pencil because you might have to. The tape might have gotten
Fix the
loose. You
tape.
might have to, tighten it back up so
I
it'll
was
play.
a surgeon. I was surgical.
Yes.
If
Fixing
you
tapes.
if you didn't have the money to go down to the local record store, you had to have a blank tape in the recorder, and you had to jump up and you had to press two buttons.
And you had to hope that they weren't going to talk to the post, like the announcer wouldn't talk to the post for the music. You wanted it early so you could. Yeah, that's how you made a mixtape.
And in 1994, you're right. When I went down and bought that tape and listened to it the first time, I learned better lock the door to the room when that tape is playing.
Yeah, you better have the headphones on.
Papa Steve doesn't need to come wandering in. I don't know how his reaction would have been, but Snoop Dogg.
Did you hear him hit all the notes? I know you college football fans are tired of the trend. Jen, can we get that first part one more time? Because it sounds like he's running for college football president.
Oh, this guy right here, he knows. This might be one of the smartest business people we have
For sure.
in this country. And I feel like I'm not overstepping bounds or going on wildly reckless speculation here when he's like, I see where this is going. Nick Saban's going to be the president of college football. And I'm going to be the vice president. Here's Snoop Dogg again.
Let's just play just the first clip because everybody. I know you're in the car. You're like, yeah, I am, Snoop. You're right, Snoop. I am.
College football fans are exhausted by the constant talk around NIL, conference realignment, coach movement, transfer portal, and super conferences. So it's time that we get back to the roots of college football.
Sign me up. I'm in.
I do find it wildly interesting. The roots are going to start in Tucson at the Arizona, the Wildcat Stadium. I do find it wildly interesting. The roots are going to start with the Mountain West and the Mid-American. I do also kind of feel like this is Snoop getting his foot in the door, and we're going to have a bigger bowl game. By the way, just for the record on this, the partnership marks the first time an alcohol product is the presenting sponsor of an NCAA-sanctioned bowl game. In February, the new beverage company introduced gin and juice as their first ready-to-drink product, a nod to Snoop Dogg's hit from the album Doggy Style. The Arizona Bowl is bringing sports, libations, and entertainment into a singular bowl game, and we are changing the definition of what a brand partnership is in the NCAA. This is Kim Adair, executive director of the Arizona Bowl, in a statement.
Sounds good. I mean, this is the same bowl that the fellas from Barstool tried to sponsor a couple of years ago. So this bowl and these folks have tried to do some innovative things with this opportunity in this space. Everybody's all for it. We'll be here. Who knows what can happen? We saw last year, who would have thought that the giant Pop-Tart would have been a big hit, or that pouring mayonnaise on somebody's head would be a big deal. So,
and who knows the next thing, and maybe because Snoop Dogg, has done things with Martha Stewart a little bit and whatever. Well, and so maybe he can be involved with like the Puppy Bowl or something. Because did you know he has a cleaner, or he promotes this? It's called Angry Orange, and it's supposed to be like disinfectant to get rid of dog odors and things like that. So that's another product that he has. So who knows what the next bowl sponsor could be?
More products for sale: Snoop or Shaq?
Snoop.
Yeah.
That guy's everywhere. Shaq.
Well, you got a Snooper market. I mean, hello.
Shaq's up there, but Snoop, it's not marketing a product, but he's now somehow involved in the Olympics. He's involved now in college football bowl games. He's got the Snoop Youth Football League, which he mentioned in that thing.
And which is a legit league, and there are several players in the NFL who have come through Snoop's league. Matter of fact, one of our own, Keyshawn Nixon, was
I think you're right.
Was a product of the Snoop Youth League, and so you'll see Snoop following Keyshawn throughout time, and think about how long that league has been in play, and they have it obviously over there in Compton, California. He's had that league successful for a long time. Also, just this past year, I've seen the high school film of a young Snoop playing football, which is fantastic.
Oh.
It's fantastic. He was as skinny then as he is now. So seeing him play wide receiver at probably 100 pounds was tremendous. It's just a fantastic story, man. It's
we'll talk about
only
it.
in America.
We'll talk a little more on the other side. It's the early game. Bill Gunner for AAA Heating and Air. All right, now we're transitioning, getting into the upper 80s. Still humidity a little low right now. The 90s is rolling around the corner. Have you thought about your air conditioner for this summer? Because if you live here in the Midlands, you know what a Midland summer is like. And if you just moved here, welcome. It's time to call AAA Heating and Air. They have an incredible deal going on right now. For the year of 2024, you can get 100% financing with 12 months, no payments or no interest. You won't pay a penny until 2025. So go ahead, call AAA Heating and Air today. 803-677-1500. Tell them you heard it on 107.5 The Game with Bill Gunner. And if you're ready for an instant quote, visit their website today. Again, you can just mention me. Bill Gunner at 107.5 The Game is the one that sent you. You can enjoy the 15-year parts, labor, and warranty, all kinds of things. Call AAA Heating and Air today, 803-677-1500.
And we're looking at those traffic conditions out there this morning, and still a few that we are contending with. Faro Road at 277 and also at I-77. Highway 1 between Rabin Road and North Chelsea Road. Also Highway 1 near Kelly Mill Road. Highway 6 at I-20. I-77 northbound at Percival Road, an accident there. Long Green near Clemson Road. Longwood Road at Skipwith Avenue. Old Cherokee Road at Old Chapin. There's an accident now in that intersection. Smith Pond Road at Two Notch and Summit Parkway at Summit Center Drive. Looking for a high today of 90 under cloudy skies.
Reminder, go to 1075thegame.com and register for the Palmetto Citizens FCU Grand Slam giveaway. Every game, $25 is added to the pot if a Gamecock hitter hits a grand slam. And I don't know, are teams accustomed? Is this a rare feat right now that they've gone this far without a grand slam?
I have no idea. I'm sure there's an analytics, somebody that can figure that out, but it feels as if this is overdue.
Maybe we'll put that on you. Maybe for Chop Talk, you can look at. I mean, I don't know. I have no idea. I guess what I'm getting at is that it's likely due. It is likely due, and right now the pot is at $1,175. If you are registered and you go to 1075thegame.com to register for the Palmetto Citizens FCU Grand Slam giveaway, you could win $1,175 if a South Carolina batter, keyword there, South Carolina batter,
right,
hits a grand slam. So make sure you go and register. Game tonight against Winthrop, 5:45 pregame, 6 o'clock first pitch, right here on 107.5 The Game, 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. And then reminder, it is a Thursday-Friday series this weekend against Georgia. Thursday night's game on ESPNU. Number 13, South Carolina, and number 15, Georgia. And if the Gamecocks can win that series, they might be staring down the barrel of a top 8 seed when they head up to current number 1 Tennessee next week. I really feel like if you win the series this weekend at home, you've kind of positioned yourself regardless of what happens. I mean, you can't go to Tennessee and get run-ruled 3 straight games, but nobody's going to really hold it against you for losing to Tennessee the way they're playing. So that game, these 4, counting tonight, you go 3-1 in these 4, Preston, and you're on the doorstep. You're on the doorstep. And quite honestly, also, if you get to that 9-10, if you're in that 9-10-11 seed, you know that 6-7-8, if they stumble in their regional, you've got a chance to then host at your place if one of those super regional teams does indeed go down. So it's a monster series this weekend over at Founders Park.
Yeah, they're in the conversation.
And really, a reason tonight that you don't just go up to Winthrop
right,
and just go, all right, we're just going up to get our game in and get back.
Nah, you go out there to win, because every game, it's not – I mean, we're not in tournament season yet, but this is setting yourself up for it, obviously, and you want to make sure that you're in the best position to play. So they're in the conversation. That's all you want to be at this point in the season.
803-404-6100 if you want to weigh in this morning. So I got to ask you, because you were officially recruited. You had Baylor, you had Duke, you had Georgia Tech, you had South Carolina. Clemson was in there with you. You mentioned, was it you and Donnell Washington, I believe? Was that that y'all decided?
No. Donnell had first pick.
Okay, all right. If 17-year-old Preston was doing his recruiting, would we be getting edits like this from you? Because this is a new one. You can go On 3 Sports has put it out. This player is Lagonzo Hayward Jr. He has released a top 7, and now the kids do the edits, right? They have to get a graphic. You can't just you can't even go to Twitter anymore and just be like, hey, I got a top 7.
No, you got to have a graphic.
Lagonzo Hayward Jr. has put up a graphic where there is basically a cell phone, and not only does it name the teams, but it names the coaches and has the faces of the coaches.
Okay, that's what was going on with this. Okay, I couldn't quite figure out what was happening because I was like, why does he have the pictures, the faces of the top 7?
Hey, by the way, Tennessee, Florida State, South Carolina, Southern Cal, Florida, Georgia, Alabama is his top 7. So, yes, there is a picture, a very happy picture of Shane Beamer staring at me. How do you feel about these edits for recruits these days? Are we old fogies that I'm like, man, this has gotten out of control, or do we need to become more hip?
Okay, listen, I'm whatever, man. Do whatever you want to do. I just feel like 7 is too big of a number. If we can give me a top 5, maybe 3 even, I'm cool with it. 7 is like, why did you pick 7? I don't understand. Did only 7 people offer you? Why not 10? Why not go to 20? I don't know.
It does feel there's a universal working down process of 10 to 7 to 3.
There's no 5, right?
We've almost gone to skipping 5 because of the number, because now you can do so many official visits. It does feel that there is a skipping process of going, but you start at 10 with all the edits.
Mm-hmm.
You go to 7, and then you skip down to 3.
Yeah, that's my only complaint. Listen, you want to make your edits. It's cool. I appreciate the creativity on this one. At least there's a cell phone. Fine. I just need fewer because I need to know where we actually – because if there's top 7, what does that really mean?
I'm with you. I don't know
I don't
for the
know
people.
I don't know what top 7 is.
The people that get on Twitter, because there was a time after a few years of doing recruiting where I was basically I'd call a young man and say, all right, where do we kind of stand? He'd go, I got a top 7. I was like, don't tell it to me. I'm not reporting. I'll do a top 5 because at that time that was your 5 official visits. You had a top 5. I could kind of explain where you were going.
And this is what I know from this. I know this from personal experience, and it's probably not. It wasn't a recruit at the same level as Laganza.
4-star safety, by the way.
It wasn't at that recruit. So, but I do know of lower level recruits who would have a top 5. However, 3 of those 5 had never even ever offered. They may have called them. They may have had a conversation with the coach, but they never were offered by those 5. So it was really like I'm choosing between these 2. And whenever you look at that top 5 and you see 2 out of place lower schools, those are probably what they're choosing from.
You know what? I want a quick sporty sports conversation on this because there is a player that was initially committed to Ohio State. This young man, Jonte Gilbert, out of Douglas High School in Atlanta. All right. Originally committed to Ohio State, decommitted, was a guy that was a 5-star prospect early on. He's been dropping and dropping and dropping and dropping, and he released a top 5 the other day, and it is Louisville, North Carolina State, South Carolina, Central Florida, who I think you might have to give credit to because they're in the Big 12 now, and Georgia State.
All I'm saying is when you see that list and you see lower outliers like that, those are more than likely his actual options.
Is that where he's calling? Because Clemson was in there, Georgia was in there, Ohio State he was committed to, and nobody's answering?
Yeah.
How does that go? We talked about. I tell you what. We got a few seconds here, but because we talked about how you can be politely asked to leave your college, but how does it work when the college decides during the recruiting process? No.
Yeah, this thing is like I said, and that's why I always much props to Rick Stockstill when he was recruiting because he was very forthright and honest. He said, "Look, it's between you and Donnell. If Donnell gives us the nod, that's where we're going." And he was very forthright and honest. That's why I always have much respect for him. But that's not always the case. And so, yeah, there is conversations where you don't call us, we'll call you.
Right.
And if you're looking at a top 5 and you see 2 schools that are lower in caliber, those are probably actually their choices.
Yeah, it's just some recruiter stuff, but the edits and all of that has gotten very interesting.
It's a lot.
Over time. 803-404-6100. We will come back and wrap things up. You're listening to the early game. Bill Gunner for Mid-State Roofing. If you've got a leak, well, you need to let Mid-State Roofing take a peek, because for nearly 30 years, they've been the proven leader in the roofing and waterproofing industry. It's their history that is your assurance that their professionals will provide proper advice, service, and results in the needs of your facility. And let me repeat that, because that's important. They will provide the proper advice. You want somebody who's going to be honest with you, tell you what's going on. How many of you out there really know about the roofing industry and you're paying close attention? Let's be honest. Go with the professionals. Someone who's been the leader for nearly 30 years in the roofing and waterproofing industry, and that is Mid-State Roofing. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They'll take your phone call. They'll help you with a maintenance contract. Get out to your home. Keep your operation dry and running long into the future. 803-356-1919. Again, that's 803-356-1919. Call Mid-State Roofing today. Tell them Bill Gunner sent you. Wrapping it up on a Tuesday morning. Reminder, we will actually be out at the Hilton Garden Inn just down the street tomorrow morning. The early game, myself and Preston will be broadcasting live from the CEOA breakfast over at the Hilton Garden Inn. So that means little dinner tonight to show up fully ready to eat a breakfast buffet tomorrow down at the Hilton Garden Inn. And that's where we'll be broadcasting from the CEOA breakfast right down the street at the Hilton Garden Inn. 803-404-6100. A couple of y'all weighing in on the Snoop Dogg bowl game now. The Gin and Juice Bowl. I feel like, real quick, before I read some of these real quick, I feel like that this is going to be a well-watched bowl game just because you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, you're going to tune in just for the intrigue part of it. And again, Snoop is playing to the demo that we speak to, the demo who remembers him from 30 years ago, and he just plays across everybody because everybody knows Uncle Snoop. It's like that guy. We love him.
It is also, according to the ESPN article, it is the first partnership with an alcohol product as the presenting sponsor of an NCAA-sanctioned bowl game. And remember, this is where it's a little different. It says NCAA-sanctioned bowl game. We're all still trying to figure out what the NCAA's role is in college football moving forward.
Correct.
But the partnership marks the first with an alcohol product as the presenting sponsor of NCAA-sanctioned bowl game. It's the Gin and Juice Bowl. Jeff weighs in and says, if this works, Notre Dame and Guinness need to partner up quick and sponsor a new bowl game. Got to be some good names we can come up with.
I like it. There's something there for that for sure.
So mark your calendars. Probably it'll be in December on the 28th. Again, the only real downside to this, Mountain West and Mid-American. So you could end up getting, I think, Utah State,
maybe
and Bowling Green.
I would say the Fighting Pete Limbos, maybe.
Yes, that is. They are in the MAC, I believe.
Maybe the Fighting Pete Limbos might make an appearance in the Gin and Juice Bowl. That'd be a interesting press
Let's
conference.
see if I can somehow real quick here just see Mid-American. Mid-American is Akron, Ball State, Bowling Green, Buffalo, Central Michigan, Eastern Michigan, Kent State, Miami, Ohio, Northern Illinois,
The
Ohio.
real Miami.
Yeah, they lost. They didn't get that title.
True.
Toledo and Western Michigan, and then the Mountain West. And I don't think this is, of course, I don't think Oregon and Washington State are actually full-fledged members of the Mountain West, but Air Force, Boise State, Colorado State, Fresno State, Hawaii, Nevada, New Mexico, San Diego State, San Jose State, UNLV, Utah State, and Wyoming.
We'll be on watch when the season comes. We'll make sure we update you on the projections for the Snoop Dogg Bowl.
So you could get I'm just throwing it out there, you could get a New Mexico, Ohio bowl game. I think once that happens, Snoop would be like, all right, we got to up this thing. How do we get into the L.A. or the Las Vegas? If Jimmy Kimmel had an L.A. bowl,
Yes.
clearly he can accomplish that. So that was some fun news from this morning. Again, baseball tonight, South Carolina and Winthrop. That game is up in Rocky. I just saw a tweet come across. I didn't see when it was actually posted, but a tweet come across stating the game is a sellout. So Winthrop will be there and ready to make something happen for that. Again, hockey tonight is probably what I'm going down the direction of. Hurricanes and Rangers.
Sign me up. I'm there for it.
Hurricanes and Rangers. You do have some NBA tonight. Might be a good series. We talked about this because nobody's paid attention, but Dallas with Luka and Kyrie taking on Oklahoma City.
Yeah. I feel like that's the lesser of the two series that people are paying attention to, but Kyrie has gotten his act together or at least just kept quiet.
Stayed quiet. That's all he's done is stayed quiet. It's all there.
Which is just fine. Just stay quiet and it's all good. But he's playing a tremendous brand of basketball right now. I know they are annoying. I know you will see their commercial on TV. They will be singing, "What a pro wants, what a pro needs."
Been labeled one of the most annoying commercials out there.
I'm just telling you, they play a good brand of basketball. Shea Gilchrist, again, Calipari's like, another one of my guys.
Oh, that's his selling point to all the Kentucky, all the Arkansas fans now. He's like, look at what we did at Kentucky. All these guys.
Look at Cat, look at Shea,
Jamal Murray.
Shea. I'm just telling y'all.
Yeah.
So, but again, I think that'd be that'd be a pretty fun series to check out. If you want to see Luka run around the court and try and figure out how does that body make that type of plays,
Luka and Nikola Jokic are proving you don't have to be the most athletic.
Just got to be a baller, man.
Just gotta play. Cleveland and Boston also tonight, by the way.
That's
7
probably
o'clock.
my least interest. I'm probably least interested in that series.
Yeah. Cleveland. I tried to watch Sunday some of the Cavs Magic, and I fell asleep. It was almost as nice as watching a golf tournament. So we will be out at Hilton Garden Inn tomorrow morning, CEOA breakfast. We'll recap some of that. We'll cut up about some other things. We'll have a good time.
Yes, sir.
Y'all have a great rest of the day. For Preston Thorne, for Jen Jensen, I'm Bill Gunner. It's been the early game.